Okay, we're live, yeah. We're starting now. Let's go, Ashaya. Let's kick it off.
All right, hi guys. I'm just gonna say quickly before we start, I think because we've got so many people on, if you can hear like echoing start, just mute your microphones unless you've got something to say. Yeah, because I can hear it already that it started already. But welcome to the this Zoom meeting. I'm excited for this one. I'm excited for this one. I don't know if anybody has seen this Derek Jackson video. Who's seen?
Jesus.
What we're thinking, Kai, go on, kick it off. What we're thinking.
What am I thinking? She needs to blink about 4 times and someone needs to save her. Like, that's what I'm thinking. She needs to blink fast.
Yeah, blink now if you're a hostage, isn't it? One of them situations.
No, you guys are wicked. Alexandria, sorry, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking, you know what I'm seeing? It's easy for us from such a separated point of view to throw shade and to think it's funny. But I'm kind of seeing humanity. I am. That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing 2 people hurting. And yeah, I laugh at some of the memes because it's funny, but I also see the side and think, right, that is some work they've got to go through. And then they're put under the magnifying glass because of social media, which intensifies everything like 100-fold. So I'm like, wow, I really wouldn't want to be in their position right now.
Right. Brett, what are you thinking?
I think for me is I just feel sorry for the woman, the wife. You know what I mean? Out of everything, because it's more or less, you know, she was in the back, minding her own business, and she just got dragged in from his own mistakes. Yeah. For me, it's like, you know, the guy, he was more thinking about himself than everybody in that house. You know what I mean? So it's just a horrible situation, personally. Selfish. It's selfish act. I personally think, anyway.
Okay. What about you, Sunray?
We're talking about Derek.
Yeah. What do you think? You watched the video. What do you think?
Derek, just call him.
What do you
Derek.
think? Sorry.
He makes it sound more common because he's a common guy now. He's a common now. Like, come down here with us. Come down here with the lads. Like, you're not up on this pedestal. You're not up on a pedestal no more. So yeah, you're being knocked off your high horse. This might sound funny, but I was happy. And the reason why I'm saying I was happy because I'm a type of person, yeah, that knows a real person and knows a fake person. I know when someone's being phony. So for years, I've seen this guy. I'm like, this guy's full of it. I can tell he's an actor. I know an actor when I see one. And I couldn't say he's fake, he's phony, because social media are going to say you're a hater. And I get that. I understand that, because if you're not really seeing anything like too bad, then you don't really have nothing to go off, even though you did call a woman a black bitch. So that's another situation. But women just skipped over that situation. That was enough for me, because if you're arguing with a woman and you're angry, certain things shouldn't come from your heart. Certain things shouldn't be in your mind. You shouldn't say black bitch. You can say maybe different hurtful things like, oh, well, I don't know. I'm not going to say anything because you might think I've said these things before. I can't give no example, but it's like someone saying, oh, I called you a black bastard because I was angry. It's like, no, why is that on your mind? You should not even thought of that. So I knew that there was something going on. I always say that usually if you are a good teacher in a certain field, it's because you've either been through it or you've been around it or you studied it intensively. Like, I work with young people that come from like rough backgrounds, gang warfare, all that kind of stuff. And the reason why I understand it, because I've been around it, I get it, I got some type of experience in that field. If a woman is dealing with marriage counseling, she might have went through a divorce herself, and this is why she becomes a teacher. So you become a healer in the places that you healed, essentially. But in his case, he's not healed. He's still doing it. That's why he knows the game so well. And he's looking at himself. I'm laughing like, yeah, I know this game. I know women. I know how it works, their mind works. I know what I'm meant to do, but I'm just not doing it. So this way it becomes scary. But not only that, he's talking down to men, shitting on men. So that's what I don't like about that. Yes, you can preach, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, as they say. But in this case, we've got to throw the whole baby out. Like, gone with this guy. Because
I to throw the baby out, you know.
you need to throw that whole dude away, because this is, I don't know. I'm going to stop there at that point, because, yeah, I'll get passionate about this, because this is out of order. Out of order.
All right, we'll get into that. Don't worry. Drews, what do you think? Did you watch the video?
You want me to come after Simeon? That's a lot.
What do you think? What do you think of this?
No, I wasn't really aware of this guy. It just shows me how much of a hypocrite he is. I ain't really got too much to say.
Okay.
Just a hypocritical guy. That's all.
All right. Alexandra, you said something before. You said that you see two people hurting. Why do you see two people hurting? Why is the guy hurting?
Because this comes down to the question that kind of got me interested in this post in the first place. Like, will polygamy solve cheating? And for me, in this case, it won't, because he's obviously trying to look for something, some kind of approval or gratification. I don't know what it is that he's looking for, but he's searching for something in all these women that he's sleeping with. So if you feel the need to try and find love in between this person's legs and this person's legs and this person, that says a lot about the person who's trying to get it. Do you know what I mean? So I'm like, there's something going on with him. Yes, he's not innocent, and yes, he should be held accountable, but there's obviously something not right with him as well. Do you know what I mean? So to be behaving like this, because you've either got to, I think, cheat and it just be a one-off, or you can cheat and that's a part of your character. Do you know what I mean? If that's a part of your character, you can't help but step out of this relationship and step out and step out and all the relationships that you really cheated. There's something wrong with you. So I think that there's something up with Derek. Something's going on.
So are you saying it's okay to cheat one time?
No, I'm not saying it's okay to cheat one time.
He's not been doing that one time.
Okay.
He's not been doing that one time.
I'm talking about in general.
Like, what? Nah. Don't let him know.
It's all right to cheat once.
Is it?
This guy's a clown.
Yeah, everyone's laughing.
What do people class as cheating? Like, what is cheating? Because he did mention in his video, like, some was sexual, some was non-sexual, blah blah blah. So what would you guys say is cheating? What is classed as cheating?
I would say you have to hide it from the person that you're with. When you know it's gonna make them feel a type of way, that's classed as cheating, because you're gonna, you know what I mean, emotionally, it can be emotional, it can be physical, it can be, do you know what I mean? Like, there's different levels to it, but I just feel like you have to hide it, and you can't be honest about what's going on or the things that are happening, then I feel like you're cheating.
I agree on that.
Yeah, same.
So would you guys say,
with that?
Yeah, go on, Drew.
No, so it's hard to disagree with that.
Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say, is flirting, let's say harmless flirting, is that classed as cheating?
Why are you even going there?
Yeah,
let's say you're out and about, let's say you're out with the lads, or you're out for a night out, whatever you're doing, and then a waitress or waiter comes your way, and it's literally harmless banter back and forth. Is that cheating?
You said banter. Banter is not flirting.
No, but you can flirt, and it's kind of in a jokey kind of way. Is that cheating?
No, personally, I don't think so, because that's also part of interaction. Do you know what I mean? As long as you're not taking it further than if you wink or whatever, you know what I mean? Going back to that waitress or that waiter and saying, "Can I have your number?" Then I think that's harmless.
Okay.
Can I have your number? Say that then. I just got to be clear what you said. So you can ask for the number.
No.
Oh, what's going on stage? Oh, all right. Yeah, I'll get it now. I get it.
Okay, when would you say cheating starts? Does cheating start in the mind, or does cheating start, let's say,
actions?
When you start to pursue? Is it actions?
It's more.
So when you start to pursue
action.
Nah, I wouldn't. Sorry, not to say no, but I wouldn't say it's action. because you have to get to the action. You have to make these things happen. You have to figure out how you're going to get used to together, or how you're going to, you know what I mean? How you're going to play out your fantasy. How are you going to get this cheating that's inside your head to actually become reality? How is it going to, you know what I mean? You have to think about it. You have to be, you know, you have to put yourself there. Once you put yourself there, you're there.
Okay.
That's
So
short, bro.
a lot of people will say that it's like it's natural for men to want more than one woman. How do we feel about that one?
Can I just say something, please, just about the last question?
Yeah.
Nikki.
Yes, yeah, Nikki.
I don't take my head off, Nikki. I just said your name.
No, sorry, I didn't know who said it, that's why.
Yeah, yes, Nikki. Yo, I just said Nikki, that's all, man. Relax.
All right. Right, so before you relax, bro. Flanter, you said something before about, you know, like, man can make that decision up in their mind already, I think, personally, that you can, and women, I suppose, you can cheat already in your head. If you've already thought about it, as far as you've already done it sometimes, you know? You can already do the thought, whatever. Let's be real, look at porn and stuff like that, you know? The person is not there, but everything on the other side of the screen is going on. So your mind, it's all about your mindset, really. And I think if you've done it in your mind, you've done it. If someone comes up to you and says, oh, I like your lips, you've got really nice lips, I think you probably already thought of something that you shouldn't have thought of, to be fair. You could have commented something else, totally different, which was more flattering for a woman, you know? And banter can also be flanter,
Also
which
be
is a new
what?
word where flirting involving banter, you know? A bit of flirting and a bit of banter. It can.
Did you say
There's a
banter
blurred
can be
line in
flanter?
I said, but yeah, like you said about before, it could only be banter where it's not really flirting. Like I'm saying, it can be flanter, which is like a blurred line between flirting and banter.
I've never heard that word before. I like
Really
that
nice,
word.
mate.
I'm gonna start flantering soon.
I think you're already doing it and don't even know.
Flanter.
Okay. So how about when people say, oh yeah, let's say like cheating under the influences and all of these things there, is that still, can we do them ones there where it's a one-off and all these things there? How do we feel about that one?
I've never heard of that.
No, you know.
Under the influence. So when you're drunk,
Oh,
the night out, sorry babe, didn't know what I was doing.
Even when you're drunk, you know what you want. Even if you send that risky text, you know you're sending that text, like, you know, regardless. Like, you can be drunk. Don't get me wrong, you can be drunk, you can be under the influence, but you would have had to have that something there before for you to even pursue that person like that. Do you know what I mean? Nah, it's not even about drunk. There's less people come out when they're drunk. Like, you get it? Like, you can't trick me. When I'm drunk, I'm drunk. I can be mashed up, but you can't trick me. Do you know what I mean? If I want something, I want it. If I don't want it, I don't want it. Drunk or not.
But okay, like, is there a difference between being drugged and then being drunk? Because when people are drugged,
there's definitely a difference between being drugged, because then that's I would say that's mind altering. I feel like being drunk, it's like a haze. Do you know what I mean? I think there's levels to it. Being drugged, you can be drugged and wake up tomorrow and not know what happened from when you. Do you understand? From when that point of being drugged to, yeah.
But I hear what you're saying, but it's the same thing with being drunk, though.
Yeah.
The same kind of apply. It depends on how drunk you are.
Nah, I understand that, but there's levels to it. You're gonna get to that drunk. Do you know what I mean? You still have that conscious. You're still gonna be having that thing where you know, okay, it might lead to this, or you've got an idea where this is what you want to do, so this is how you're gonna go about it. But if you're drugged, you don't have a choice. Like, some people don't have a choice. You'll wake up 10 miles away from your house. You don't even know where you are, how you got there, anything. Do you know what I mean?
I disagree. Well, in terms of level of drunkenness, like, I've been white girl wasted, I'm not proud to say, but I've been wasted and like not known, and I'm not proud to say that at all, but like not known how I've gotten home. It's a good job that I had good friends around me, do you know what I mean? So I think you can get drunk to the point where you're not aware, but that still doesn't excuse cheating, because what you're doing getting drunk to that point.
Yeah.
It still doesn't excuse it, because you still got to take some responsibility for yourself and your own actions, and know that going out, I'm going to get tipsy, I'm going to get married, but you don't have to get that drunk.
Yeah, to know your limit, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, with the person.
Okay, Sunray, how do you feel
Don't do
about
drugs and don't get drunk.
so how do you feel about it being a man's natural urge to, you know, hunt for many women's?
That sounds like a pedophile hunt, like
Oh my
predators.
I ain't gonna lie, that sounded crazy.
They say men are hunters, isn't it? They say men like it's a natural thing for men to want more than one woman and all these things there. How do you feel about that one? How true is that?
Who you asking?
I'm asking
me.
Something. Yeah.
You said because I said who you asking.
Yeah. No, she said your name though.
She said your name, fam. Just answer the question, bro.
So what was the question again? Sorry, what was that?
What's the question?
What was the question?
You're trying to quote with a good answer.
No, really. What was the question again?
How do you feel?
What was the question again? Yeah.
How do you feel about the idea of it being a natural urge for a man to want more than one woman?
Felt like it was.
Okay, I won't say. For me, like saying it's a natural urge, I won't say it's natural. It's based on your environment. It's based on who you are. It's based on society. It's based on culture. So I wouldn't say just like natural. I want to have more than one woman. I want to have everything. You sound like you're sexually out of control. And I always say that a lot of people are ruled by sex. So if you're coming from an undisciplined place, yeah, you're gonna wanna stick your finger in everyone. But when you're coming from a righteous place, when you're coming from a place where you want a level where you're like, nah, there's more to life than that. You realize there's deeper energy than just sex. What's behind that sex? Who you're having the sex with? So yes, you might be going through your seasons, as you may call it, in terms of your hormones, and then you might be wanting to explore on that level. But as you graduate and become a man, you should take control of your sexual desires. But a lot of people have never graduated from that. They still remain little children, and they just want to hump everything. And it's like, I want this, I want that, I want that. But me, I understand the ramifications of sleeping with loads of women. For one, you can have babies out of wedlock, and then broken families, broken homes. You're messing up a whole generation, sexual diseases and stuff like that. And stress levels as well that you have to deal with, like being in that position, dealing with multiple women. So not for me anyway. I won't say that I have the urge, like I see everyone think they have the urge. Yes, I can see a woman and say, wow, she's beautiful. But I'm not looking at her in a sexual way, because then I'll be a pervert. Why am I perving on a woman? I can see, I think, oh, she's nice. She got a nice body. I can see that. But perving is like, oh, I want to have sex with her. I got the urge. Like, yo, control yourself. You sound like a man that has no control. So that's my answer.
I ain't gonna lie, I've been there. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I've been there where it's like, yo, I'm out of control. But I guess, what are you laughing for, bro?
Because it's funny, that's why.
Yeah. I ain't gonna lie, but you know, I think it's going back to what Simeon says. It's like at the time when I did feel like, you know, I wanted to. Every time I'm looking at a beautiful woman, I just want to jump on her.
Right.
At that time, you know, my headspace wasn't there. Looking back at it now, and then it's like I didn't think about the consequences of my actions and what come with it. Because all I'm thinking about, I can do my thing, and then I'm ghost. Nobody ain't seeing me. But it's the consequences after. What's going to happen to that female? How does she feel about it? Is she going to be contacting me? Is she going to ring me down? Does that mean I have to use those as energy to not even try and dodge her or you know, block the phone call? It's that what comes after. So years down the line, it goes back to what Simeon's saying is, all right, if I do this, what am I going to do next, and what actions are going to come next, and what am I going to do? Am I willing to put that energy in to do what I'm doing? So now it's like, you know what? Nah, I'm not going there. I'm sorry, I can't go in that direction. You know what I mean? I'm just leave it out, and that's wisdom and discipline. That's what I
Not
was
only that, Brett, it's like, you have to look at it like this. I'm going to have my Derek moment right now. My Derek moment. When you're in your state of like not caring and not being sensitive to who you are and other people, yes, you're going to see a woman as an object. So you're going to objectify her. And this is why you can't see past her body. And you can't see the troubles and the struggles and the damage that you could be doing to yourself and her. So when you have a lack of respect for yourself, naturally, you have a lack of respect for others. So it goes to how you're being brought up as well. If you're being brought up in a perverted culture, you're watching porn all the time and you're desensitized by porn and you see women in a certain way, yes, you're going to have that urge because your sexual hormones they're totally off. Do you know what I mean? You're thinking with your dick rather than thinking from your heart, from your mind. And don't get me wrong, you need to have that creative energy there. It should be there, but it should be controlled to a certain degree, because when it's not controlled, you become like an animal. What the animals do, they go around the...
But what do you mean by it's the way you've been raised, though? Like,
listen,
are you saying that, is that all of it or some of it? Because
no,
I think some of it's based on also experience of saying, look, I've been through this and I don't want to go through it again. So I'm going to change my way. That's not based on how I've been brought up. I've just learned from my experience.
No, but that's for you though. But I'm talking about like, if you being raised in a culture where women are not respected like that, they're seen as second-class citizens, which that is the case in a lot of countries and a lot of cultures. You see women being abused, even if it's your own mother being abused. Psychologically, you're gonna think like, oh, you can do that to women, and you can talk to them a certain way, and the women has to listen to a man. They have to tiptoe. It's like that could play out in your relationship on how you see women. So it goes deeper than that. There's many factors. It's not just one, and it's personal as well. There might be one person that might have sexual urges for his own reasons. That could be just a weird bastard case. And then you might have another person that has his own sexual desires for his own reasons. So it's personal, but at the end of the day, I won't say it's a natural thing unless there's something genetically wrong with you. This is why you just want to go crazy. It's like, no, like culture should teach you that. You get what I mean? Your parents should teach you how to view women, how to view yourself, how to have respect and not just look at women as a sexual object. Why are you looking at them in that way? Just as sexual beings. Do you get what I mean? So it becomes a bit weird. So it's all about mindset, really. That's what I would say. So that's a myth, though, when people say, oh, men would just have urges to just go crazy. It's like, nah. I don't know what type of men people are talking about, but nah, that's an old school of thought. That's an old school of thought.
Okay, because I mean, in society, a lot of the times it's said, oh yeah, women can't do what men do. But listening to you and Brett now, it sounds like you guys have come to the conclusion that men can't do what society says men can do. Men should should preserve themselves sexually, like our women are said to. Would you say that's true?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. And society is like, I think there's a difference between society and your culture. It's like society is just like what everyone just mixed together and everyone agrees on this as a whole. But when it comes to your personal culture, you have your own morale, you have your own tradition, you have your own psychology, you have your own way about going about things. So you're conditioned differently in a culture. So it's like, yeah, society, I don't F with society like that. I mess with culture, and a culture that I choose to resonate with, because everything gets lost in society. Everything becomes perverted, especially in the world that we live in today. So yes, society would expect you to be a certain way, but you don't have to fall into that mold. But society destroys young black men, young black women. It destroys family. It puts you into a box where they feel safe, where they can control you. So yeah, it is going to contradict society. I would say that, yes, of course.
So Simeon, wouldn't you say though, because you were saying that you're based more on cultural than society, yeah? But cultural for, like, in lots of African countries and cultures for not even just men, but women also to have more than one partner. I know I've seen that in African cultures.
Okay, you want me to speak on that?
Yeah, I'm asking you a question.
I'm going to pull something up for you. So when you're dealing with Africa of today, you're dealing with a modern day Africa that has been influenced by a lot of different cultures, and they have almost become like a society, and they have lost their way. So when we're talking about us of the African diaspora and us wanting to go back home, a lot of time you go back home and it's just the same as down here. I'm a traveling man. I traveled, so I've seen things from first-hand experience, and I know why people are the way they are, and I can separate what is African culture and what is not African culture. As being a historian, making documentaries and stuff like that, digging in deep. So I'm gonna look at something here. This is statistics of religion in Africa. It says Christianity 49%, Islam 42%, and traditional faiths 8%, and 1% others. So as a whole, it leaves no room for African culture. It's very small, because if like more than almost half of the population is Muslim and Christian, it goes to show you that their culture is predicated at large from an Islamic point of view. It's not coming from the traditional. They have been influenced by the world, by the Western world. So we're looking at it from that point of view. We're not going back into isolated cultures. It's not, Africa's a different place now. And if you travel, you will see everyone's on the Islam vibe. So it's coming from the Islam point of view. And not only that, the Christianity, people will like to say that Islam basically is a champion in polygamy and things of that nature. But people don't understand the history of ancient Christianity going back into the Hebrews. They were about polygamy as well. You can have Abraham, he's the father of many nations. He had a wife called Sarah, Hagar, and Keturah. He married a lot of different people. So you find that in there. Not only that, Jesus looked back and said, if you was any good, you will be like our father Abraham, and you will follow his ways. So we have been bombarded with religion. So when you say this is what it's like in Africa, like, yes, hell yeah, it's like that in Africa, but Africa is not the Africa that it once was. So
see, I'm not a historian, so I'm not going to try and bring up facts and figures and dates and stuff like that. But from what little it is that I know, is that when the colonizers came over to Africa and invaded, they enforced their view of how things should be on the native people that were there. One of which was, you take one wife. This is, oh, how dare you sleep with X, Y, and Z. But from my understanding, it was more a case of, let me try and do this right and do this justice now if I can. It's more a case of every child having a father, and every family unit being individual to itself, and everybody being taken care of. Is more of a community kind of mindset that created the poly kind of relationships. It wasn't a case of, because even if we look at it like from a numbers point of view, just from a numbers point of view, there is in most societies more men than women. In some societies, there's like
as many. A fact? Is that a fact?
Yeah, it is. Okay. I think in Western society, it's like 3 to 1, 3 males to 1. I could be wrong, but I know there's definitely more males than women.
It changes each year. It changes each year. But it goes up and down.
It fluctuates. But in general, there's always more males than there is females, okay? Take away from that, that's already small number of women and large number of men that we're targeted by police, by the healthcare system. They're trying to tell us that we need to get the injection first. And more likely to die in police custody. Women are more likely to die, Black women are more likely to die giving childbirth. So all of these things, take away all those things, it means that there's not as many males. The ratio of males to women is low.
Okay, so can I respond to that?
Yeah.
So the first thing I'll say, going back to the point of you saying that the Western world came into Africa and said, you must do that and you must do that. They didn't do that throughout the whole of Africa. And you can see the results of that because a lot of them are still Muslims. Almost half of them are still Muslims. And when you're dealing with the whole racial stuff, it fluctuates and it's predicated upon your town, your city. So when people say, I want to be polygamy, they have not looked up the ratios online, if there's any more men or more women. And not only that though, you will know if there's a shortage of men. When you go outside, you're not going to say, oh, where are the men? Oh, men, where are you? You don't have to go climbing up mountains looking for men and whatever. It's like, can I just talk? So you don't have to, it's like, so when people say that, when they say that they act like there's a shortage, like we can't see them, we can't find them. Listen, when you go out to the clubs, you see men and women, you're not going to say, oh my gosh, there's no men in here, or there's no women in here. Oh my gosh,
some more girls in here.
It's not as dramatic as people make it out to be. So I think people play that statistic game to try and like say, oh, this is why we should do polygamy and whatnot. But go on.
I don't think it's the only reason why we should do polygamy. I think it's one of the reasons why people should consider or be open to it.
Wait. You're for polygamy, Alex?
I'm open to it. Yeah, I am.
Yeah. So you will have 3 husbands if you had the choice.
No, I wouldn't do it that way around. I would be a sister wife. I would have a husband who had like myself and somebody else.
So what I would say to that, so when I think people need to understand what polygamy is.
That's what I was gonna ask, because it's like everybody's throwing this big word around. It's like, and to be honest, is the way it get advertised to us, it's not really a professional way. It's almost thrown to the men than the women. Yeah, so it's like you get 3 wives. Yeah. So obviously, when you say that to a man's like, man is gonna be thinking, yeah, all right, say nothing.
That's what I just thought. Then
is there any I want to know is there any benefit? Is there actually a true benefit to it?
Okay. Before we go into that, I think let me just explain about the whole polygamy stuff. So a polygamy is a generic term. It could be a man having more than one wife, or a woman having more than one husband. Now you have polygyny, and that's when you're talking about a man having multiple wives. And then you have polyandry, and then there's a woman having multiple husbands. But now it gets tricky. Then now you have bigamy. Now what we're talking about in this country, you cannot do polygamy, you can't do polyandry, and you can't do polygyny. You can only do bigamy, and there's a heavy price for that, because bigamy is you having more than one wife or more than one husband, and it being illegal in this country. In the UK, it's illegal, so you can't legally get married. Even if you're Muslim, you could do your little cultural thing, but it's not gonna get registered, basically. And there's a heavy crime or fine to pay for that, and the fine is basically 6 months to 7 years in jail. That's how serious they take it, depending on, because they see it as fraud at the end of the day. They're like, listen, this is a Christian nation now. We're the Western world, and this is how we do it. Which by rights, you can't go to a Muslim country and try and, you know what I mean, do your Western thing. They'll say, now, just like Dubai, certain things you can't do there, you can't run. So when we talk about everyone saying like, oh, I want to do polygamy or whatever you want to do, it's not realistic in this country. You can do it and have your own ceremony, but it's not going to be registered. Yeah, so you'll just have your little own thing on the side, and you have to honor it in your own way. But it's not like when people say, oh, nation building, you have all these wives and sister wives. I think people talk about polygamy, they don't travel and understand what polygamy is from different perspective, from an Asian African cultural perspective, and from a religious perspective. In this country and in the Western world, we've seen polygamy at large from a religious perspective, more so an Islamic perspective. So we get the new modernized terms and the way of looking at it from that perspective rather than the indigenous perspective. So someone's got a hand up. Kelly, you can come in if you want to. But go on, Alex, you can address that.
Yeah, so there's other ways around. Obviously, it might not be legally recognized by the system, by the court system, but there are other ways around. Like before it was made legal for gay couples to get married, they found ways around it. They like contractual kind of things drawn up to say that should, just like a marriage, there are other ways around it. So I just wanted to throw that in there. But did you say that Kelly wanted to speak?
Yeah, I think she wants to come in.
Yeah, everyone hear me?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Yeah, I've been asking you to come in for ages.
Thanks, Ryan.
I wasn't sure what you were saying.
Yeah.
And I'm listening at the same time, so I'm not paying attention. But so I am with, is it Alexandria? In terms of
you did say that's. I wanted it to be balanced because I didn't want to be.
Yeah.
So
wait.
That's why I said you come in.
So Kelly, you want to be a sister wife as well?
I'm open to it, and I think it's because
this is blowing my mind today. I've known all these people so long on yeah, man.
There's a whole conversation, there's a whole spectrum to this conversation, yeah. But I think for the right person, yeah, like there has been set people where I've been like, oh, I wish you didn't cheat on me because I would have just had an open relationship with you, but you cheated on me and that's disrespectful. So now it's over, kind of thing, innit? Like, but anyway, that's on to the next thing. But what I wanted to address is kind of like some of the cultures that came out of Africa, and in a set area of Nigeria, there's a book about female husbands and male daughters, which is quite an interesting, it's a heavy read, but it's an interesting read because it talks more about the economic part of polygamy.
It's business.
Yeah, and it's interesting because obviously your economics is kind of part of your life as well. So it's like, even though it might be an economical idea, right? Well, I'm a woman, but I'm now your husband because I'm going to take care of you and you're going to inherit my land. It's a language as well. It's a language, it's a mindset, but also it does not complicate, but it brings different dynamics to your relationship with that person, because then there is this kind of thing of we're giving and receiving each other in a certain way. It may be sexual, it may not be sexual, but I think it goes back to what you say about it very much depends on what culture and society you're in to support this idea. Like obviously in the UK, you don't really have the support to make it work like that, at least not yet, that I can see. And that pressure from the outside can very much collapse it before you even get a proper platform to explore it. So yeah, that's my angle.
I think you hit the nail on the head with it, because there was one side that I did know about, and that's only because I know you don't want me to say this name, but Brother Polite, he's like,
I was gonna say that, but not.
Yeah, I know. I shouldn't say the name. I'm sorry, but he's doing it himself, and he showed the side of the business side, right? And
but he's also a scammer too.
Yeah, bro, I know, and we're gonna.
So I was trying to say, like, the people
Sims.
When you use people for,
let him speak, Sim. Let him speak, man. Let him speak, man.
I'm gonna go past this guy now. Forget.
Let him speak.
No, but I want to address this because when you're dealing with,
Sim, let him speak, man.
Sim, let me speak. So I've seen that part, and okay, I can see how people could think, all right, in terms of the business, that could work. But my thing is this, right? Going to what Kelly said, is that it's all about the mindset and the training to be able to make that thing work in the society that we're living. Yeah, black guys, black men, are they really ready for that? That's my thing, because let's be honest, in terms of like being just holding one woman down, yeah. Some of them are having a hard time doing that. So when we're talking about just having 2 or 3 women, come on, man, that's not even a conversation. You know what I mean? Like we're talking about people's lives here. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about people's lives, yeah, and sharing and understanding and this, that, and that comes into the play. Are we ready for that? That's the question. And if we're not ready for it, let's not have that conversation. Period. That's what I'm saying.
I want to ask Alexandra, what do you say the purpose of polygamy is? Like, what's it for?
So many different purposes. The ability to love more than one person. Like, I've got 3 children and I love them all individually because they're individuals. It doesn't mean that my love for them changes. So there's that. I think, again, Simeon will be like, nation building, but nation building, you know what I mean? If I...
No, but...
If I think, like he was saying,
carry on.
You can go to a club, you can go here, you can go there, and be like, where's the men? There's all the men. Like, as a woman who was open to having a relationship with a man, like looking for a man of a particular kind of standard and pedigree, it wasn't easy. It's not easy. And then you know what else it can do? It can kind of set women up against each other. Like, I'm going to be a little bit bitchy to this woman because I like him and I saw her eyeing him up. And he's the only one nice man in the club. Do you know what I mean? It can kind of set that. So it can kind of break down, really create like a sisterhood. Like, it's not for everybody. It's not. So for what Brett was saying, like, can certain men, it's like, it does appeal to men more because it's like, more than one woman, but really, can you hold down more than one woman? Can you even hold down yourself? So it's there's a lot of things that come into play when we're talking about it. Like, yes, I'm open to it, but I'm not just going to do it with any 2 people because I want to say that I'm in a polygynous relationship or a poly relationship. It has to be the right blend. It has to be the right mix. It's like cooking, getting the right herbs and spices in there, making sure the thing blends nicely.
So, but
let me say something quick, Brett. Something quick, Brett. I want to read out something quick, yeah, since we're talking about this, because we're talking about someone being in the club and then wanting one man, and then obviously they can't get that man, and and that's like competition, that's jealousy, like, because we're all individuals. I'm going to read something. It says, a study from Emory University examined polygamous relationships in more than 170 countries and found increased levels of violence towards women and children. Abuse may come at the hands of the husband, and the wives abuse each other. Now, let's look into that. People don't understand the dynamics of a polygamous household. Brett, you touched on it a bit as well. You said, listen, even one woman's hard to even deal with. So imagine you're dealing with 2 now, you add a second one in the equation. Just like Alex made the example of having children and loving them individually. When you have one child is hard to look after. And it's nothing to do with even finances. It's just, you got to give them your attention. Then you have 2. It becomes hard. It's 3. And especially if you're not basically in the frame of mind to emotionally deal with it. Now, children are not like, what do you call it? Things where you can just pass around. You go to that mother, you got to, listen, a child needs your attention, it needs your energy. All this is like confusing, going back and forth. Now, the reason why the abuse is coming into it, because the man is stressed out. He's stressed. This is why he's got the violence, and the women are abusing each other. The wives are abusing each other. The children are getting abused. This is a study that's taking place. There's stress in the family. Clearly, they've not got the house in order. So these people that are on this polygamy tip, it's not what people think. I think people do it because it sounds good, and then they get involved and they say, shit, what have I got myself into? So imagine now you're on like 20K a year, 25K a year, 30K a year. You think you can hold down the family. And now someone's going to say, well, this is why the woman's going to go out and work, and then this person is going to do the sewing, and that person is going to work at the food market, and this one's going to do the homeschooling. That sounds all pretty. But at the end of the day, it's like, when you're speaking on nation building, you're not trying to build a nation. You're trying to build some type of wealth for yourself, and it's about business. It's not about love. Imagine finding love in this day and age. That's hard. Like, we can think about all the times we thought we was in love, and the relationship we didn't work out, and then we realized that person was abusive, that person was A, B, and C, and you're lucky to find one person that you love in this lifetime. Yeah. And now you're in a position now where you're like, do you know what? I found love. This person is the one, and I'm so content. I'm so happy that I'm gonna go out and find love again. you're not going out to find love again. You're going out to just add on to that. But if you're a person that really have self-love and love for the woman that you are with, you don't need to look for it elsewhere. Everything else is just business. Now he's like, almost you're getting greedy. He's like, yeah, got everything that I need here, but still I don't have everything that I need here. I want more. We don't have enough time.
There's so much in that.
Pardon?
So
go on, Kelly, because I feel like go on.
Like to an extent, I see what you're saying, but that is very much from like the society that we're based in, and even furthermore the culture that we're based in as well. Everything that you've said about like the statistics, I bet you there's another report out there that will counteract those statistics.
We can find it and then we can discuss it.
Listen, my university page has closed now. but like as well.
No, but saying that, but even though me saying that though, like that makes total sense. I get that dynamic. It's like that's not even something far-fetched. Like, no, I don't believe that's true. It's just like it's common sense in some sense. It's not just like, well, no, that don't sound right.
That's what this is the thing I'm trying to say. Like you get
the
all
different sizes. Not everyone's abusing.
As
but
well
the different sizes. Not everyone's doing it. Clearly, not everyone's having that struggle where they're in a polygamous relationship and everyone's being abused. That's not what I'm saying.
It's not based on your preferences. Abuse is down to the individual. It doesn't matter their family circumstances. Abuse is just that person's a knobhead.
No, not really. Not really.
Can I throw spanners in the works though? Because all right, so check it out. So I was speaking to this guy once, and I asked him, would you have a relationship with so many women, right? And he goes, yes. And he was proud to say, I will do that. And then I asked him, what about if your daughter did it? And he was like, that can't run. And that's what makes me think about doing something.
We don't know men's psychology.
Because I always think, all right, then I'm going to do this action based on something that I like. But how would it affect my child though? And will my child make the right decisions? Do we all think about that? Or do we just think about just like yourself? It's just a question that I've got to fire out to everybody.
I'd love to answer that because I'm a single parent. So I have thought about that and how I think a lot about how my actions teach my child. And my idea around, I'm going to say open relationships, because I personally feel like when you're in a relationship with somebody, it's you two decide the rules, really, and then everything else comes afterwards.
Okay.
I also want to teach my child about love, unrestricted love, and love defined as you see fit. But first and foremost, it's self-love. And then once you've got enough love for yourself, everything else should kind of click into place, if that makes sense. And I think a lot of people sometimes say, you deal with cheaters or you deal with open relationships because you've not got self-love. Sometimes that is true. Sometimes we see it like Derek and that lady, like sometimes like, some people are just broken. But sometimes it's like, no, like I love myself enough and I trust myself enough to explore this other avenue, which society has not pasted for me, but I'm strong enough and confident enough to explore that myself. And I think there is always going to be pros and cons in this world, like in every situation, but it's how you deal with it and it's how you think of it. And for me, I'm just like, I would love to teach my child that whatever you do it with confidence, do it with dignity, and do it with honesty for yourself first and foremost, and see how it goes. Just see how it goes. And I will support you even when society doesn't.
See, I'm with you. I'm with you, ladies.
I think that's a good answer though.
I think I'd say I'm with you, ladies, on the fact that it is possible to love more than one person. Like I do genuinely think that you can. I'm not personally, I don't think I could be in a polygamous sort of relationship. It just wouldn't work for me. But one thing where I'm kind of like, where it's like, when you're coming in and you're teaching your children, as you're teaching your daughter that, like, in a way only men can love, or men are allowed to express their love, you know what I mean, like with other people, because it's not like, okay, let me ask you this, you guys, you ladies, would you be open to being in a, is it like polyandry, where the woman has more than one husband? Yeah, would you guys be open to that? Because you know what I mean, like you're allowing the man to be, you're allowing the man to express his love to other women, but what about if you've got more love to express to other men? Is that allowed too? Would you go with that?
Oh yeah, 100%. I believe in equality. So for me, I wouldn't want to close the door to any one person exploring anything. Like for me personally, I love you. I support you. If you want to explore building an empire, I'm going to like help you do that. If you want to explore opening a freaking car lot, I love you enough to help you, support you, explore, do that. And I will kind of apply that same rule to like exploring other people. Now, don't get me wrong. If someone's a serial, like every girl, boom, 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 nah, you got a problem in it. But like, it is possible to meet someone and just there's just so much chemistry. There's so much that I want to explore with that one person. I'm not being a dickhead. It's just this person, there's just something there. That person can feel it too. How about I have some time to explore that? But I'm not a very jealous person, and I think people bring jealousy into relationships a lot. And I just want to remind everyone's jealousy levels are very different.
Kaishana, what do you want to say?
Right. So what I would say is that obviously I agree with what you're saying. You have to install love with your kids. Like I'm a mother, I've got 2 boys. So for me, like the whole thing with having 2 husbands and all that, like I would keep that as far away from my kids as possible. Like what I do and what is comfortable to me is what I do. But you see, my kids, I'd have it where I don't want to influence them. And a lot of people will think that, oh no, you're not influencing them. But kids watch their parents. Kids watch everything you do. They want to be you. They want to do everything you're doing. You're the person that inspires them. You're the person that they're going to want to mold their life around. I feel like children are so impressionable. You have to leave them to grow and be their own people. You can't influence them. You can't. So whatever's good for us, that's okay. We have to find love with our own people. We deserve it ourselves. But for children, I just feel like we should leave them to make their own decisions. Obviously, there's things coming from every angle, TV, social media, everything that they're gonna, is gonna get to them. But I just feel like relationship-wise, I feel like they should figure it out themselves. Obviously, we can guide them and make sure that they're, respecting themselves, because it starts with respect. If you don't have respect, if you don't have, if you're not upholding your own self and being able to love yourself, you're not going to know what you want to do or where to even start. I just feel like as children, we should just nurture them for them to grow into the people they are. And then once they're the people they are, they can make them decisions and we can just support them afterwards.
Alexandra?
Me personally, having polyandry, which is a woman having more than one husband, that's not what I want. That's not to say I'm not against another woman seeking that if that's what she chooses to have for herself. The dynamic that I would want would be a husband and a sister wife. In terms of my children, like the way the poly relationship that I would want, the way it is in my head, if I could have that in reality, then if my children were also to have that, then for me, it's just very healthy, very open, very honest. And so, yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to them having that relationship if they chose. And then going back to, the beautiful lady was speaking before, I can't even find her on here to read the name now.
Kaishana?
Like, she would keep her relationship separate to her children. I get that, but at the same time, she also said like there's so many different influences coming from some different angles with kids. So I would want them to see me being my authentic true self and try and present to them what love looks like to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I ask everyone a question?
Yeah, wait. I think Nikki wanted to speak.
Yeah,
She had her hand on.
Hello?
Hiya.
Yeah, Nikki.
Oh, hiya.
Oh, you back, Nikki?
Hiya. I just wanted to say, because you're talking about polygamy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Polyamorous is another word which keeps on cropping up. I work in mental health, which is in the community and working in and out of people's homes. And some of the houses that I work at are kind of independent, where basically if they don't want you to come in, you're not coming in. And you're just checking that they're okay. And I've recently been working with my first transgender, which is, you know, world's changing. And this is a male, born a male, now changing to be a woman. And if I seen her in the community and I wasn't working with this individual, I would just think it was a woman. And my point is, she's also an escort, and she also dates a lot of different kind of people and men who I would also not think that they'll be sleeping with somebody she's not had no surgery, by the way. Also, she just looks like a woman. Everything about her, like them people that you see on the telly, like on RuPaul, where you're just like, wow, how can that be a woman? How can that be a man? But yeah, my point is, some of these men who might be into these polygamy relationships might also be testing out a lot of these funny kind of women that are out there too, who are not. They're not even.
Took a turn, that did, man.
I'm telling you, she absolutely looks like a woman. You would not know no different. Honestly, you would be surprised. So be careful what you see in the club, because if you're looking at it, you're going to be attracted to it. But I'm telling you, she's smashing it. She's smashing it.
She's smashing what?
She's an escort. She's an escort. She's an escort, and she's even thinking about whether or not she should have her change. You know, she wants to go for the change, but I think the moneymaker to be honest, is the fact that she's got a body and she looked like a woman. There's a moneymaker.
Got that body and like a woman.
Yeah, it's a weird world out there. Serious.
Yo, this conversation went different.
No, I'm glad she raised this point.
No,
you know? I'm glad she raised this point.
All right.
Go on.
No, sorry.
I was shocked to work with. I've never
Go on,
worked with somebody like that before.
Ashay, carry on, man. Carry on.
No, I'm glad she raised the point, because when there was a point where I was kind of open to the sister wives kind of concept. I was like, okay, let me explore this a little bit, until I'm doing my research and whatever not, and I run into where two women were involved, and it's kind of like, okay, love is this, and love is fluid and all of this. Like, I'm not getting involved with no sister wife to be involved with a sister wife. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not how I get down. So then I seen the lines started to become blurred in what goes down in the bedroom. So what is this really for? What is polygamy? And I can understand the question that is asked: is polygamy sort of just used to excuse or cheating? You know what I mean? Or to have that as an excuse to be so liberated.
I need to say something.
It's a big argument.
Can we fire a question?
Yeah,
Listen.
No disrespect. I was just joking.
What we're dealing with here now is that a lot of people, like you said something, Ashaya, you said that you came across it. How did you come across it? Where from? I'm not asking you just a rhetorical question. Basically, how did you come across it? Because we live in a day and age where social media bombards us with these Hollywood relationships. Oh, I like to try that. Oh, that looks interesting. And then there's some Derek Jackson guy on the screen convincing you. The next minute, like, you're involved in that, then you realizing it's like crazy. We've not learned polygamy from a religious perspective, at least directly, because we've seen it growing up. Like Muslim tradition, we not learn it from being in a polygamous household. So how are we learning these things? We not learn it from an African indigenous perspective. Where are we getting this from? This is new age. It's a new age ideology that's being put onto a Western society. Polygamy doesn't work in a Western society. There's laws against it. There's psychologies against it. When people say, oh, a man should be polygamous because he has sexual urges. We're talking about a low frequency brother there. Oh, a man should be into a polygamous relationship because he naturally cheats. We're talking about a low frequency brother there. Like all the reasons that they'll say, oh, it's about money, because when you come together, then you can have a house, you can have a land, and then you can get rich. Like, it's all about finances, money, sex. Sex has a part to play with it. And this is why I say, is polygamy a cure for cheating? And that's a question that leads to many things. I will say, if a person is a cheater, rather than basically creating a culture around that man cheating so he can naturally just keep doing what he's doing. That man needs help, because you're not addressing the cheating part. If he's going to be a cheater outside of that relationship, basically, is going to be a cheater in a polygamous relationship, regardless. So that's not going to be the cure. There's a condition with men at large. So we need to deal with the issue. So this is why people are coming up with this polygamy stuff, because I feel like women feel like, oh, we're losing our men, or maybe we should try this polygamy thing. Oh, but there's different factors why we are losing our men, why we are losing our children. No one talks about the abortion rate levels as well. Like, there's a target on Black people. And so when we say there's a shortage, there's a reason why there's a shortage, and polygamy is not always the answer. Oh, sorry, Alex, you want to come back?
Oh, Alex is hot.
Alex is ready.
Alex is ready to take off your head, fam. To take it.
You better come with some fire now, Alex. You know? the gas in
Alex, take off his head, man.
So what did you say, Chris?
I said take off his head.
They're rooting for you. They're rooting for you.
Every poly relationship is different. And yes, we're coming at it from a Western point of view, and there's all these different our system, our society wouldn't necessarily support that, but I don't just write it off because it's not something that you would do. You know what? I saw a meme the other day and it made me laugh. It said, being in a poly relationship is like eating a big bag of crisps in church. Everybody's looking at you like this, but secretly they already want some. Like, you know what? For me, because I'm like, if I'm open
flavors to crisp, first of all.
The flavor, you know, he said the flavor.
It's all-purpose seasoning. Go on, Alex. We can hear you.
The trailer for the poly relationship. Every single poly relationship is going to be individual and unique to itself. And even though, yes, we're coming at it from like a Western point of view and our society doesn't support it, I don't think it shouldn't be something that is explored as another way, because clearly, as you said before, the divorce rate is high, and then out of the people that are getting divorced, it's women that are filing for it more than the men. So I think it should something that you should just be open to exploring.
Okay, but you said something before. You said that the Western world went into Africa and told them how to basically engage in a relationship in terms of one woman and whatever, and that's it. But then you said that there's nothing wrong with exploring a Western way, which polygamy that we see it today is in a Western way. So it's like, you can't have it both ways. It's either we are anti-Western way when it comes to relationship, or we're not. Are we going to pick and choose because it sounds good or it sounds exciting now? We can't get into the whole temptation. So this is what I mean. Like, I get what you're saying, because I'm speaking from experience too, because I was on that whole wave. Then I realized, wait a minute, these guys are faking it. They're lying about history. They're lying about, oh, Africa is the land of polygamy. But when they address African cultures before religion, and they talk about polygamy, they're talking about kings and queens. Oh, we was once kings and queens, and they got, yes, that's a fact. You can have Ramesses. He had like hundreds of wives, and I'm pretty sure he didn't know all of them, because how are you going to have that many wives? Because it was a political thing. It was a political thing. It was a way to spread his seed, to get power, and to rule his nation. So when you go back to a place like Kemet or any African nation, you'll find the higher you are up the ladder, the more likely you're going to engage in polygamy. So when people say Africa was the land of polygamy, look, Ramses II, oh, I'm in this, and Akhenaten, and they start naming all these African kings, and look like they're breaking down science, but you're not a king. Yes, we call each other kings and queens, but we are not a sovereign of a nation. Like, people don't understand, it's politics, it's power, and you do not want to get into that if you don't really understand the history of it and how religion came and flipped that whole power. Now women were removed away from their throne when it got to the religious perspective, because it's like men own the women. You have a like ranking order. You have God, you have Christ, you have man, you have women, then children. that's the ranking order. And not only that, they had like your main wife, and then you have your concubines, and then you have the women that you can just do whatever you want to do with them. We're getting seeps of polygamy from different angles, all mushed together, thrown at us, and we're saying, wow, this is what we're going to do. So it's like a mongrel or a melting pot of polygamy that we got. And now that we have it, we don't even understand it. We're not even engaging in it yet to even learn from the mistakes. So we're jumping into it and say, do you know what? I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to jump in and hopefully it works. So that's my thing on it. I'm not going to jump into something.
Simi, can I say something? But
go on.
Based on, all right, what I'm getting is,
everyone's winging it. Everyone that's about to get into a polygamy, they're about to wing it because they don't have no real example.
But it looks like she's done some deep research on it, both of them. Like they sound like they're quite confident. So it to me is like, what can you say? Just give it a go and see what you think to it. And if you feel like it's right, then it's right. You know what I mean?
So what's the deep research that they did?
You don't want to let it go, dear, bro. Just let him do it, bro.
I know what you said.
No. It's not about. Listen, it's not about me letting you do it. I don't have to let you do anything. Everyone's grown people. We're here to talk about polygamy and perspectives. I'm giving you my perspectives, and then you're giving your perspective. That's all it is. It's not about letting them do it.
Kind of interrogated it, but still.
That's what's in.
I think I have to reiterate that everything in this life, you make a choice and you make your rules. In a sense, it's the same with monogamous marriages as well. Like one marriage may not be the same as another marriage. There's people who do open relationships, there's people who do swingers, there's people who don't even have sex at all in their marriage.
That's the point, being in a relationship.
And this is not me saying that like marriage is based on sex alone or economics alone. Like I am coming from a perspective of like trying to be holistic in the way that I love a person and the way that I want to be loved. I want to feel liberated in love on many different levels. And that doesn't mean I want to go fuck everyone. It doesn't mean that at all. But it does mean that like no one's telling me what I can and cannot do. It's a choice and it's a commitment to each other, both sides of the way, if that makes sense. And I think a lot of people are expecting some rules on polygamy. And it's kind of like, listen, these are some guidelines. This is the way people have done it maybe previously or now, but really and truly, that's for you and your people to explore in that relationship. You make your rules.
Exactly. And I was just like, Sydney, what's going on? Like, none of us here are asking you to be in a polygamous relationship because if it's not for you, that's okay, bro. But you know, like, if we're saying that it's something that we want to explore, then you know, just kind of to explore it. I know it's not clearly not you, and that is
but I totally agree with that. But the situation is, we're here to discuss that. That's if I met you on the street, I'm not going to be like, hey, start breaking down things about in Africa and whatever, because we're having a dialogue. This is what we are here for. This is why I'm speaking with this type of energy. Otherwise, you won't get this from me unless this situation or this topic comes up. So it almost appears like I'm like, what are you doing? No. Like, nah, it's not that type of thing. We're here to talk about polygamy.
I want to explore what Kelly just said, right? Because you just brought in sexual liberation. Like, how does that tie in? What is sexual liberation?
I didn't put them together.
Well, you put it in your explanation. So okay. I'm trying to understand what you think sexual liberation is. Let's start there, and then how that ties into polygamy.
Okay, so I'm trying to figure out where that came from. So when I said liberation, I did mean like love without restrictions, because I feel like if I'm loving myself, I want to have the power to explore myself in every way without feeling conflicted about my commitment to another person. So that's where I was coming from there. And that's not just sexually, but it may include sexually as well. But I mean, on a personal level, and I can only speak about me, the sexual stuff doesn't really come until the emotional stuff came anyway. But it's kind of like if I was to meet a next person and be like, rah, like I said before, there's just something about you, whether it's for a season or for a reason, I want to explore that. I know that I could give the same allowance to my partner and I would want that in return, if that makes sense. I guess the good thing about monogamy, when it works and when it is like a committed relationship without adultery, is that you've got that safety of, you know, all right, there's not going to be no outside babies, there's not going to be any sexual diseases, there's not going to be any embarrassments and things like that. And I think obviously when we're going towards open relationships or polyandrous relationships or polygamy, we have to start assessing those things and be very firm on a level of this is like, these are our boundaries or that kind of thing. I'm going on a bit of a tangent.
No.
Yo,
it's good.
Wait.
No,
Can I ask one question?
Go on.
How do you pick a girl or a sister wife? What do you look for?
You know what I think of? Like, obviously, I'm talking theoretically here, innit? You guys know
theoretically, how would you pick a sister wife?
You got to stay committed now, Kelly.
Let's say you're in a monogamous relationship and then you're talking to your husband and you're like, you know what? I think we should make this a polygamous. How do you pick the wife? Do you pick the wife or does he pick the wife, or is it a joint thing?
Who finds that person, innit? I think obviously it probably very much depends on, like, if we're talking about wives, then the guy in it, like, he has to choose whether this woman is right for him as much as I have to say, yeah, I'm okay with that dynamic in the relationship, and vice versa. If it's like, I want to add another man to this, then
that's crazy.
Truly, that starts with me, and then it's like,
added another man's crazy. I ain't gonna lie.
Why? Why is it crazy?
So
it's like a now.
So when you go back, so when you go through the whole choosing process, and you said it's up to the man, do you have a conversation with that guy first before he goes out? Because you don't know if he's basing that logic and saying, I'm only going for this girl because she's stunning. Because my basis is that if he is, you've both had a chat, right? And now he's going for another woman in the selection. Okay, I'm guessing he's selecting a woman based on benefiting this relationship that they're about to go into, not because he is attracted to that woman. Am I right? Or am I wrong?
Exactly. That was my question as well, Brett.
I'm in 1 or 2 poly groups, okay? And
there's groups out there.
There's groups
to everything, Dre.
Yo, I ain't gonna lie, you're committed to this thing, man. Is it like poly dating sites as well?
Probably. If no, we best cash in on that because it's the next best thing.
Yo, Brethren, yeah, I'm invested in it right now. I'm making it up.
Go on, Alex. So I want to hear your thought on that.
What I hear from the men is that they have a better success rate when it's the woman who approaches. So in terms of the dynamic, when it's a man and more than one wife, the men say they have a better success rate when it's the woman that goes and approaches the other potential sister wife.
Yep.
And that's for several reasons. Like when they go, I guess the woman might be a little put off, are you just coming to me because you are just sexually attracted to me? Are you coming to me? Does your wife even know? But when it's the woman, they seem to be more receptive. And I know that a couple of my friends that I've spoken to about poly relationships, they're like, you know what, Alex, it's not for me. It's not something that I would do. But when you break it down to me like that, I can understand why you'd want to do it, or I'm now open to the idea at least. You know what I mean? So I think women have a better success rate when choosing the other sister wife.
All right, Alex, how would you choose a sister wife then? Would you see him in a club and say, yo, you make a good sister wife, you ought to be in our relationship?
That's just based on lust and sex, isn't it? That's just me looking at that woman and thinking, oh, she's attractive, my husband will like her, let's go. And I don't think any relationship should be based on sex and just physical attraction. So I'm going to be looking at this person, this woman, in a similar way that I might be looking at a man. Like, what can you contribute? What's your archetype? Like, I'm aware that I'm quite a lover and a mother.
Flanterer.
Queen or or that. Do you know what I mean? What is she? What kind of character is she? Is she going to compliment me and my husband? Is she good with kids? Because I've got kids. Is she? You know, I'm just going to be going down the credentials like I would with a guy. Is she going to be, a blessing?
Can I ask a question? I'm going to stop being. I'm still going to stop kind of like. Yeah, you know what? Stop being. But I'm trying to get into the deeper mind, because instead of me saying everything from my perspective, I want to dig deeper into your guys' perspective. Now, what is the reason why you're interested in a polygamous relationship? I know it sounds like a question that you probably answered before, but I'm trying to get somewhere. What is the reason? Like, why do you want to be in a polygamous relationship? Like, for example, men in society today, we may wake up and say, oh, yeah, I want to basically have a wife or be in a relationship with someone. And then the way that our culture and everything is set up, we might want to go out and have another woman or sleep with another woman. So obviously we say, this is not just why people say it's natural, because we see this play out in society. Now, do women in culture and society wake up and say, do you know what? Yeah, I'm with this man, but actually, I want to be with another man, and I want to be with another one, but there's no room for that. Like, is that common? That's another question. And for two,
how many questions?
You don't have to answer all of them. Just answer what you feel necessary. I'm just trying to get into the mind.
Them at this point.
Wait. Okay. I'll ask this one. Is polygamy a man's idea of love or a woman's idea of love? Do you wake up as a woman and say, do you know what? I love my husband so much, I want to share him with other women. Like, does that come into your mind, or is that just based on maybe you seeing things online, doing research and doing whatever? Like, what is it based on? Like, what is your idea of polygamy? What is it based on?
Last one, because there were so many questions, I forgot the other ones.
You got to keep up, man. This is serious, you know. You're about to dedicate your life to a new way of living.
So in terms of, do I wake up in the morning and think, my husband's so great, he deserves 2 wives? I hope to have a husband so great that I think, you know what, you deserve 2 wives. But it's a case of, like, let's just say, for example, especially for the Black community, talking about being at the bottom of the total pole for social economics and all the rest of it, if I had a husband that was like, who can I use, for example, a Black celebrity, a Black UK celebrity, anyone?
Idris Elba.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I just knew it.
If I was with Idris Elba, with all the money, with all the fame, with all the life that some of us hope to live, I think that would be selfish of me to keep him to myself.
Wow.
Tell his wife that too.
Right.
Wow.
Help another wife, help another family. And for me, I know that sounds like really out there. No, it doesn't. I don't care. That's actually what I think. For me, like, have another wife. You can afford another wife. And if you've got the capacity to love another wife and to help raise another family with children, because I'm a single mom, I've got 3 children, and my eldest is 16, he was 17 this year. And for the majority of my 17 years parenting, I've done it on my own, and it's been hard. Now, if there was another man, a respectable stand-up guy, who could have helped me with my son or my sons, I would have that. I would absolutely.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Don't you think that before you, because I feel like sometimes we jump the gun sometimes, before you think about being engaged in a polygamous relationship, do you think it's smart to even make does one relationship work? Because that's a struggle in itself. And I feel like for me, if I just, let's just say I woke up and said, you know what? Yeah, I want to be in a polygyny relationship. Meanwhile, I struggle with one woman. But then I say, do you know what? I want two of them. It's like, how that won't make no sense to me. It's like, I need to survive. I need to thrive. I need to make one relationship work first. And then I say, do you know what? I've graduated from this. We are strong. We are ready. And now we've got the tools to go out into the world and add on to this, rather than just like, polygamy, and just like get thrown into the deep end with loads of different people. And
or you could create a charity what helps women with the kids.
How I would go about it. I'm not just trying to add people to the mix for the sake of saying I'm in a poly relationship. Do you know what I mean? Like I said before, like all the components have to work. I'm not just gonna get with this person because they say that they're happy to be in a poly relationship and another one just to say it. Everything has to work. It's like cooking. It's like blending the ingredients and the seasoning and the salt and the pepper and the this and the that. It has to work. Otherwise, it's not going to work. But that's the same with a monogamous relationship as well. That doesn't change just because it's a poly relationship.
Right.
Yes, it does, because you're adding on more people. There's more people to deal with. There's more people.
Yo, Shay, take control.
Shay, no.
I'm gonna have to
take control.
Listen, what I'm the motorway here.
I've been silenced. This is a new age. This is where you get silenced. The new age is sleeping in.
No, we're in gear 6. We're going down. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Okay. You're the moderator. I respect the moderator.
Okay. It's not about silence you at all. I think we've all had a fair amount of back and forth on this polygamy. I think we've rinsed it. Okay? Right. So just to wrap it up. If polygamy is for you, it's for you. If it's not, it's not. My opinion is, if we go for it. You know what I'm saying? It's a bit, the lines are a bit blurred, but you know what? The lines are blurred in monogamy too. And Derek Jackson is the epitome of blurring lines in monogamy, right?
No, don't say that. That's not fair. To use him as monogamy. He's not the monogamy king.
Come on, man. We know that men, it's more, there's this thing in society that men cheat. He's just a prime example of it. Don't matter how high you are in society or as a social media personality, he's still, a man is just a man. A woman is just a woman.
I want one more thing, please. Can I address that? One more thing. And I'll end, I promise. Now,
don't promise.
The more higher you are in society, then there's going to be more reasoning and more rationale for you to be a polygamous person, because remember what I said about the kings and the queens, because it's based on finance, based on like wealth and stuff like that. So when you do become famous, there's going to be more temptation. You're going to be moving around from city to city, and you're going to need more type of support, and you're going to need people around you that you can trust. So he's probably thinking like, oh, I'm married now and I got all these women around me. He doesn't have the discipline to say no, because he's ruled by his sex. He's ruled by his sexual desires. So for him, it would have made sense for him to do that. I'm not saying that whether I say that's a right thing to do, but it would have made more sense. He should have went down that avenue rather than lying and cheating.
By saying that, I'm going into a back and forth, but by saying that, you're almost saying that men that are in polygamous relationships, they can't control themselves sexually. I don't think that can be applied to every man in a polygamous. He can literally be with two women. I'm talking about in
his case. He should have been a Muslim.
I just use that as a like, it don't matter what type of relationship you're in.
Because it wasn't fulfilled.
Are we going to carry on?
Lord, so we're wrapping up.
Okay.
What I'm going to ask Mandem, Jesus, I'm going to ask Mandem, what do you think, coming from a man's perspective, what do you think men need to do to level up in relationships in general? Brett.
Discipline.
Okay, what kind of discipline?
Oh gosh.
Oh, do you have to?
You gotta break it down, Brett.
Yeah, no. Give me one or two. Discipline's a bit broad. Just quickly.
In how can I say it?
But I think you got to ask the question, like, what do you mean by leveling up? In what way? If we're talking about finances, talking about being better as people to our
overall in relationships. Overall, from what you has heard about.
That's a broad question, actually.
Well, however it touches you, innit? You know what I mean? Like overall, let's say on the topic of cheating and infidelity or whatever. Now, let's narrow it down to that then.
Yeah,
How do you say? Go ahead.
I said discipline in our sexual desire. So it's just. I'll say it's more discipline in terms. Actually, it's more discipline and focus. This is my point of view. Yeah.
Right.
I'm focused on just one woman. That's what that's based on, and that's purely based on our community. Is that we're actually not doing well. Yeah, from a man's point of view. Yeah, man are not sticking with one woman. Yeah, from what I've seen from relationship, it's not doing well. So that's one thing I would say discipline is lacking for just one woman.
Okay, Kaishana, what do you think women need to do to level up on that?
I'd say, come back to me. I'm still thinking, man. I'm still thinking.
It's a lot to deal with, isn't it?
Yeah, don't skip me. Don't skip me. But come back to me, man. I'm thinking.
All right. Well, on that note, I feel like, boy, we've said all of this needs to be.
What about everybody else?
I know, yeah.
No, and Dre, and you haven't put the pressure on Dre as well, you know.
It's true, because every time I ask Dre a question, he wants to act like you don't know what he's talking about. Dre, what final comments have you got for us?
Black men don't cheat. That's my final comment.
All right,
Kashana. Oh my God.
Kashana, what you saying?
Right. What I think we need to do is that we, like, as women, we let our expectations, sometimes we expect too much. Like, not to say that having expectations isn't good, but sometimes we can go over the top. We miss the little things, like the things that are actually doing us well. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, for me, my head's always turning. So sometimes I'm thinking about things that, this could be better, or if it was like this, but then you miss what you have. You miss what's there in front of your face. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not saying that leads to cheating, but I'm just saying that is something that can lead to a breakdown in a relationship, or do you know what I mean?
All right.
I got something to say on that one, though.
Oh gosh, you're gonna keep making it.
I got something to say, because I think there's always a space that you can level up. So I think sometimes in some cases you need to be on your man's toes, and vice versa. You know what I mean? You need to be but you obviously, this is your view, your narrative of your relationship, right? And there is some times that you have to tame it down. Maybe you're putting too much pressure on, but sometimes
that's what I mean.
You know what I'm saying? But in some cases, man, put the pressure on, man.
You need to know when to be able to
balance it. It's about balancing it, exactly. You know what I mean? But always, I would say in relationship, you always got to put the pressure on. Man, you ain't gonna be a king unless you ain't gonna put pressure on yourself. Simple as, or queen.
Alexandra, do you think men can give relationship advice to women?
Why she get a different question?
That was harsh.
Just quickly.
I do. I think for women to see things, it's good for all of us to be able to see things from a different perspective. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes, like you say, with our narrow view, we can only see things from our perspective. It's good to be able to put your feet in somebody else's shoes and see from their point of view. So yeah.
Okay, Kelly, any last comments?
Yeah, this was fun. This was real. Yeah. But I think, thinking of what you've asked everyone else, I think it's definitely important to have purpose in everything you do and stay focused on that.
Okay. On that note, I feel like we can close this one out. I want to thank everyone for joining, and until the next time. All right.
Okay, that's blessed.
Thank you.
Bye. No worries. Thanks for joining.
Blessings, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Alex, Kelly, everyone in the comments, Dre, Brett, and thank you to our host, Ashaya, for doing a brilliant job.
100%. 100.
Yeah, so
she's getting better every time.
Yeah. She's already there, man. She's there.
I still like the hard questions, man. That's
Can I say one thing, right? I'm say this, right? Some motivational talks. I love the fact we can actually come together and just have our conversation. Yeah, because majority of the time we always see all these Zoom chats, probably in a different country, but the fact that, you know, we're all here from the UK with different views and we're respecting each other's views, no disrespectful thing, and we can talk, yo, it only leads to bigger things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's true. And that's true. And also it's like, once I click off here, I'm going to go back to being me.
Wait,
and
so you're not you right now?
And I'm going back to being like doing me, basically. I should have said doing me. I'm going to go, she's an idiot. I'm going to go back to doing me. And I'm also going to think about everything that's got said. And I've learned a lot, because every time I hear someone speak, I'm like, all right, okay, I've never seen it like that. Oh, okay, this is where you're coming from. So it's just information that we're taking in, and everyone's shown love. Everyone did it in a respectful way. It was funny, and that's it really. But thank you everyone again for coming, and peace and hair grease.
Timmy's about to get tree girl.
Well, wait, what happened there?
Leave it as that.
What did you say? I didn't hear that.
Nothing, man. Nothing.
I just said free gal. I thought, like the politics. You know what? Let's go.
Anyway, we're gone.
Sorry, one more thing, Drake. Do you engage in polygamy, or would you be in a polygamous relationship?
When I was a bit younger, I thought, yeah, man, that's lit. But now, I don't think I could take more than one girl at the same time, yo. That's too much for me, fam.
Okay. I just wanted to hear your perspective on it, quick.
Yeah, you tried to lie me up in it, but it didn't work.
No. I just wanted to know.
Yeah.
Everyone has to weigh in it.
Yeah. You said you could on the phone before, but now you come different now, innit?
Ha. In the past, I did. Yeah, in the past, I did. In the past.
All right, yo, I got work tomorrow, so I gotta start recording.
I am gone.
Okay, then bless.
Bless everybody.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. All right, thank you.
Bye.